Have you wondered why we are losing so many boys and men to bad social media influence, to bad friendship, to bad habits like smoking, drinking, and the like? Have you wondered why we are losing so many young men to suicide? Have you? Well, then you're welcome to the Grooming Code Initiative Podcast, because this is where we have discussions concerning how we can put structures and systems together to help intentionally raise boys into responsible men. Boys do not grow up to become men by themselves. They have to be intentionally supported, guided, and groomed to become that. And for them to become the future leaders, future fathers, future husbands who respect women, can support them, and can help raise responsible children. They deserve and need that same structure. I welcome you once again to the Grooming Code Initiative Podcast. We would love that you subscribe and share with a friend. Remember that your views are so important to us. We would love to know as you drop it in the comment section. And let's dive in and see you afterwards and in the next video. Thank you very much. Mr. Alex Autry is the Managing Director of MultiChoice Ghana, with over 15 years of experience in finance and management. He oversees the company's operations, content delivery, and customer experience for DSTV and GoTV. He has held several executive roles within the MultiChoice Group across the African continent.
Hello and welcome to the Grooming Code Initiative Podcast. This is the very first episode of this podcast, and so it is important, and I'm happy and privileged to host the visionary, the one who is carrying this vision. Help me welcome Ophelia.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'm so grateful that you have me here to go through this interview. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
You're very much welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Grooming Code Initiative. What is this all about? What are we talking about?
Okay. So, first of all, I had a personal experience with going through a condition, and my husband had really been a blessing. And along the line, I was praying and asking God why he seemed to be quite different and handled the situation differently than what I experienced or I've seen other people, go through in their marriages and all that. Not to say we are perfect, but God has shown us mercy. And he says something, God spoke to me that it is because the grooms of the homes are not intentionally groomed for purpose. And that is when I intentionally started reading about grooming. And I got to know that grooming is not just about the physical appearance of a man. It is really about the man's mindset, the man's values, how they are able to handle responsibility. And all these are actually things that are put in place, not when they have grown up already, but when they are even children are growing up.
That's right.
So that is when God inspired me to now write a book about the intentional grooming of boys into responsible men. And after I was done with it, the Lord brought the next assignment, that now it's not just going to be a book, but we have to help parents raising boys, to support them to get even some of the guidance to know how to handle their boys.
That's right.
Guide them intentionally, because some parents genuinely don't know how to. And also follow the boys up in schools with boys clubs, and even there also help the girls as well.
That's right.
Because they are not going to grow up as, independent individuals forever. They will need each other at the workplaces, at homes, and in various places of society. Boys and girls will have to work together. But if we just give structure to girls alone and leave the boys, then we have a problem. Because the groom is going to be the leader, and needs intentional grooming
That's right.
to become that groom.
So it's all about helping men live a more purpose-driven life.
Yes, please.
Right, and then also being intentional about bringing them or grooming them up to that point where they fulfill their purpose.
Yes, please.
Right.
Yes, please.
I mean, if this can only be a God, inspired mandate, because I mean, we live in societies and we see the problems. So let's talk about the problems. I mean, why are we where we are? I mean, why do we have problems? Why do men, boys and then, growing up to men face a lot of challenges? Because I think the total, results or the summary of society is actually because of this, right? What is the problem? Why are men facing challenges?
So first of all, the man who we see as a full-grown man was first a baby. And this baby didn't know anything. However, the society and the family that the boy was brought up in defined who this boy is going to be, whether they were intentional or not. So you realize that someone mentioned that his child was in the same class with Asantehine's children. And they were the best behaved. And this did not happen because they were given birth to by Asantehine, because these children were intentionally guided at every point in their lives. It's the same as all other young boys who are brought up and given birth to in other societies. You see, with the girls, for instance, sometimes they are taught how to cook, how to wash, how to, prepare themselves and given certain structures. But the boys are somehow allowed to be by themselves. Somehow we think we are giving them freedom, but we have actually set them up to be misled by either, digital exposures that are harmful, negative peer pressures, and then they figure out life themselves. So it makes it hard. The worst part is when they are even told to man up, don't cry, and they now have to bottle things up.
They're taught to be not to be vulnerable.
To be vulnerable. And then when they go through challenges, they are not able to communicate. And so when they grow up, they are now given the responsibility to go and marry and have a home. Now babies come and they don't even know how to handle the thing. It's too much. It's getting overwhelming. They have challenges, and yet they are asked to take care of a family. They become leaders of institutions, and they are not able to manage it. They don't know how to even relate with the females who might be at par with them, because they were not oriented into this life. They were not oriented into this space intentionally. So that is what creates the problem. So the man grows up and is not able to handle the responsibilities, because basically the foundation that could have been built for them to have capacity to hold the challenges of life, to cater for the responsibilities, are not there. So he has grown as a man physically, but mentally, emotionally, socially, they are not ready. They are like boys in, big bodies.
That's right.
And that was our responsibility as a society, as family,
to
bring them up that way. And so we end up now blaming them that men are this, men are that. But it should rather bring us into that retrospection where we look back and say, what was missing in their upbringing? Then
so
we are able to fix that.
What should we plug? What should we change? But, someone will say, we've done this for centuries. I mean, this is how we've brought up our men, and we are okay. So why do we need this? Why do we need to change anything? We are okay.
So I believe that in every society, and even with our cultural context and most parts of the world, men are leaders. Men are leaders in the home. I mean, let's visit the foundation of life.
Yeah.
God intentionally brought the man, created the man, and he gave him structure. He put him in the garden, gave him responsibility to tend and care. He gave him the ability to manage.
That's right.
And even name animals, name the trees. Like, he virtually gave him that responsibility to be in charge. Then he knew that, with all this work, the man will be stressed. He needs a helper. So he brought the woman in to be a helper. So you see that this man has a purpose for which God created him.
Right.
And for him to become that man, that full man, and be able to handle those, responsibilities, because the boy is coming to be a future husband, a future leader, a future father. And all these are not just titles, they are responsibilities. And we need to give them that structure, because it will serve as a foundation on which all these responsibilities will be built.
But someone will say, God created us, gave us that Adam, it's innate. Why do we need to do anything? It's already in us. God breathed that into us. Why do we need to do anything? It will come by itself.
Unfortunately, life does not happen that way, because it will be an error to think that a man will just become a responsible man by leaving him to grow up and figure out things themselves. Because in life, everything has to go by order. Even as, Christians, I mean, not to, for those people who might not be Christians, because I am a Christian, I want to use this example.
That's right.
We are made to look at the perfect word of Christ so that we can be transformed and renewed.
Yeah.
If you want to become something, you have to behold it. You have to immerse yourself in that environment. You have to imbibe it.
Okay.
For instance, I, as a health professional, I had to go to school to study to become that. Let's say you came to the hospital and they said, I'm a cleaner, but I could take a chance to, operate on you if you have to have a surgery. Would you want to,
risk
take that risk?
Yeah,
Nobody would want to do that, because you have not been trained for that.
Yeah.
It's the same way it's risky when our leaders, who are men in homes.
Yes.
You see, the men are the leaders of the home. That's what tradition says. When they are not given intentional structure and guidance as to how they should handle themselves, to be able to discover who they are, what their worth is, and what the worth of the other person they are dealing with is, then it's going to be disastrous.
That's right.
Because there is nothing like a free, how do I say it, growing up in space, in an empty space. If you do not intentionally groom your boy, social media will groom your boy.
So every action, there's equal and opposite reaction.
Exactly. Right? And there's a man of God who mentioned something that if you do not intentionally raise your child, the world will raise your child for you.
The world hates vacuum.
Exactly. The world hates vacuum. And you will pay for the price, and it will be a higher price. If you had intentionally, groomed that them. Would have been better.
Yeah. So, in a nutshell, you're even saying that the leadership crisis we have at home, in government spaces, at, corporate offices, it's all because of this lack of intentional
absolutely grooming. Absolutely. MD, the thing is, our country does not lack intelligence. Our country does not lack knowledge or skill. The problem we have is leadership crisis. Why? Because the leader was not helped, even as a young person, to know their worth and to know the worth of the other person. So when they are even threatened when someone who is a subordinate has more ideas or has more exposure than them, instead of, incorporating the ideas, supporting them to even become better for the corporate good.
Yeah.
Because they feel threatened, and that's generally because they have not been oriented in that space. And so we find clashes with leadership, especially when all people want to become specialists in something. You have many specialists in certain offices, and yet there is no solution. Yeah. Because they do not know how to collaborate.
Yeah.
They do not know how to value themselves and value others. They do not know how to become unique, without being threatened by the other person's uniqueness. Yeah. And all these things come from when we are young.
Yeah, I'm learning something from here. So I've always said that we are where we are, as a society, and mostly in the third world society, because of public good versus individual interest. And this is all because of leadership, right? So you find out that people are looking out for themselves. Exactly. And not for the public good.
Exactly.
But that's the basic instinct of animals, right?
Yeah.
So you're born and you're at the animal stage and you never grow to be a human being.
Yeah.
So animals, when you go on the street, they'll be fighting.
Exactly.
All their interest is to look out for themselves. And maybe their immediate family, their children, but they don't grow up to look beyond the individual interest.
Exactly.
And go to the public good, where we do things because we think it's good for the country, it's good for society.
Exactly.
So it means that it's because of that lack of intentional upbringing, teaching children and boys emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
For them to come up to that point.
Exactly. Because you see, most of the boys and the men now almost figured out life themselves. Some people have had parents who could have even afforded fees they never paid, and they had to struggle to fight for life, themselves. And so that instinctively teaches them that it's all about me. I have to, figure things out for myself. But really, that is not how life is supposed to be. You see, because where I work, for instance, that is not where my parents and my family members are. Another health worker is also somewhere else, also working where my parents are. Yeah. In case I had a skill that I needed to teach others and I didn't teach them, if they go to where my parents are, eventually, if my parents have challenges and they go to the hospital and they need that kind of help, and I refuse to teach them, my parents will suffer and it affects me. Yeah. That is how connected we are as a people. Yeah. And so when the child who is a boy or even a girl is left on their own, and as we see mostly in the case of the boys, as if, you can figure out yourselves, are not given structure, are not disciplined, are not guided. Now they grow up to think that everything is about them. So they make decisions when they should have considered others.
That's right.
And they think that my decision is final. I was making a video on TikTok, and I said sometimes we should train all people, both girls and boys, because everybody is important. If a woman shouldn't say they don't need a man, and a man shouldn't say they don't need a woman. Because even as a man, if you say you are the head, you are the head. Have you seen a human being whose head alone is walking on the street? You can never see that. Yeah. You see, but it is, no matter how glorious your head is or how intelligent you are, it is your legs that carry you.
Even the heart is the one that pumps blood into
you. Exactly.
Otherwise your head is dead, right?
Your head is dead. There is no use of the head.
That's right.
So that tells us how connected we are. Imagine we make our boys understand this. That look, that's your wife, that's your sister, that's your mother, that's your other brother. It's like a heart for you. It's like a leg for you. And so even if you are the head, even if you are the most intelligent, or you are the richest or wealthiest, you know that you depend on the other person.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that is how it's important for us to always do things that will benefit the others.
That's right.
MD, I personally went to school for others, because the time I was going to school, I was so sickly. And I told my mom that I have to go to school because I believe my mind, God has given me a mind that is beyond where I am, and it would be able to bless people, many more people. And it's because of an orientation I had.
That's right.
And I believe if we help the boys, if we help the men, even our women will be okay. If you meet a man who understands who he is, his value, he's not threatened by how great a woman is, it's beautiful to watch.
Right.
You see that the woman even thrives. The woman grows. It becomes beautiful. And the man also is happy. I always say that even when a man is in charge, he doesn't need to shout to show he's in charge. Like, boss, a boss doesn't need to shout. Imagine holding your keys to your home when you get there, or your remote, and would you have to shout that?
No.
This is my home. This is my home. No, you just know it.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah.
So,
but also, I mean, the Bible says we came into this world with nothing, and we're going to live with nothing.
Exactly.
So, if you live your life just focusing on yourself and your selfish needs, I mean, what have you done? It's more impactful to live your life for
others.
Other
and
people.
MD, I read a book recently, Dreaming Big from Small Places by Bishop E.O. Ansah. And he mentioned something profound. I had never read it anywhere. He said that we are living a dead man's dream. It struck me like something. I was like, what? We are living a dead man's dream. We actually have lights because of a dead man's dream. One man who is dead long time ago, when he was alive, dreamed that, I could actually, do something that brings light when there is darkness. And now we entered into the atmosphere in the world, and we see light, and we think it was just there. Someone dreamt it.
That's right.
And that is why I personally believe in this vision, that we can raise the next generation of men who are not threatened by anything, but are strong, are vulnerable, can cry, can love deeply, and can be able to make greater impact.
Yeah.
Can create a better environment for their families and for the whole society, and we will have better leaders.
Yeah.
By the grace of God, because when we believe in it, that is why we can be able to build structures and put in structures to make sure this works.
Yeah. You mentioned vulnerability. I mean, it's an age-old code that, men are supposed to be strong. But don't you see any wisdom in that? Because, as a leader, you're also supposed to be strong and not vulnerable. In times of crisis, you're supposed to go head on. Because, again, we're coming from the human race has thrived. It has thrived over diseases, over whatever. And now here. The man has to be strong and not vulnerable.
I don't agree, because everybody is a human being, and even when people are leaders, they also have needs. And that is what I always try to explain to the young men I speak to, that even if you are a leader, I was telling to the boys today that what do they understand by ediakrojim frama ebu? Meaning that if one tree is the only one that is existing and is taking all the pressures of the wind, it breaks.
Yeah.
So that is why there's a need for a leader to also be vulnerable. The truth of the matter is that sometimes leaders are threatened that when they are vulnerable, they will not be respected.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is so. When a leader is genuinely kind and loving and caring, I think that he will have genuine people care for them. It's better than pretending to be strong for people who don't even like you to thrive around you. What matters is people having leaders that they know that really care for them. And trust me, when they need help, there are people, genuine people will show up for them also. It's better, it's far better, because they are humans. Leaders are also humans. They also have needs. And that is what I think how society should be.
Yeah.
And not showing your vulnerability or showing it does not mean that you are weak. It's just because you are
Someone
human.
will say, okay, when you go to your bedroom, you can cry, but in front of the people.
Yeah, of course. I understand that twist.
Okay.
That, for instance, if many people are looking up to you and you have to maybe address a group of people, you may not be able to cry before them, because it will show that, okay, if you are crying, everybody will break down. So you have to, show up strong.
A leader has to be strong.
Definitely. But I think that is why in our grooming of the boys, to help them become great men, we should help them to know how to keep good friendship, good family values, so that no matter what happens to you, you can still fall back on a family.
That's right.
You can still have somebody or a group of people that you can cry to.
That's right.
Who will end up encouraging you and strengthening you.
People in your inner circle.
Exactly, in your inner circle, who understand you, who can care for you, so that you can also show up strong to the others. Yeah. But if you show up strong and you don't have people you are vulnerable to, becoming vulnerable doesn't mean be vulnerable to everybody. No. As a leader, you cannot do that. But you should be able to have people around you who you can be vulnerable to and who will still help you and remind you that you are a great person.
That's right.
Even if you are down today, you are still that great person. So, you can still rise up and encourage you.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, let's look at the side of the girls.
Okay.
Is the girl-child situation different?
Not at all. I don't think it is different, because both boys and girls are human beings, and they all need orientation into life. However, the experiences of the boy is different from that of the girls. So both of them have to understand what the boy goes through, and the boy needs to understand what the girl goes through, so that they can even care for one another, so that they can work together. So that if my boss is a male and I'm going through some menstrual crisis, he can still understand that, oh, my dear, sorry, and I hope you get better well soon. And will not shout at the lady that, oh, you are acting lazy, because he understands what the lady is going through. And I think that the lady also needs orientation, because she's a bridegroom in the future. So that groom also is attached. And so that girl also needs grooming. But because in our society, we have had some sort of grooming for women, even if we are not intentional, it still works better than what we've been doing for the boys. And that's why even in the Grooming Code Initiative Club, when we go to the schools, we are also going to mentor the girls as well as we mentor the boys.
So the girls get a bit more of intentionality in their upbringing.
Yes.
So even if you look at our cultural practices, we have the initiation rites for girls. Almost all the Ghanaian tribes have those things. Yeah. But I don't remember have any Ghanaian tribe that has any initiation rite for boys.
For boys. But they really need it, because they are going to become leaders. They need that orientation to.
Yeah, so the leaders rather, we are not intentional about them.
Exactly.
But then the women were more intentional.
Exactly.
How did we come to think like that?
And I think that at a point, because some, communities or some cultures did not really regard women, and women were like properties, you see, and they didn't really value women. Women were not going to school. Women were not really allowed to even own properties and all. So we realized that women were going through abuse because already the man had not gone through orientation of how to even be kind to the woman.
Okay.
And so with that abuse, as some women got exposed, now we tend to encourage and empower the woman to now also rise to be independent and, rise on their own. However, we know that in a society, men cannot stand alone, and women cannot stand alone. We all need to collaborate to work together.
That's right.
That's why there is a need for us to be intentional with both the men and the women.
Yes. Okay, so we've established the problem. I mean, there's a huge problem. It's a leadership crisis. We are where we are because we've not really been intentional to bring up the boys. People or the boys have grown up to be so individualistic. We've not taught them emotional intelligence, how to think about the public good and all that. So clearly there's a problem. So this is where Grooming Code Initiative comes in.
Yes, please.
So now let's talk about your program, what you're doing.
Okay. Thank you so much for the privilege again. I would say that Grooming Code Initiative is a spirit-inspired initiative, and globally, there is no structure like that. There are good structures globally. There are girls clubs. There is Awana. I know there is Rotary Club. There are good clubs that have actually come up to help. When you even go to some of the religious spaces, there is CYO. There is I think the Adventists also have Cadet and other ones that they've really done well to help raise our youth, and I give kudos to them. However, there's not been a structure like this because this Grooming Code Initiative, aside the fact that there is a book as a blueprint to raising men intentionally, to support the leaders, to support the parents, to give them a blueprint and a guide that you have to raise your boy spiritually, socially, emotionally, how to withstand challenges, or how to handle failure, how to volunteer, so all these topics are captured in there. Beyond that, we are also having the parents together on a community and guiding them intentionally on how to be strategic on handling their children. For instance, I met a boy who said he wants to be a pilot, and I gave him an assignment that how can you go and read on who a pilot is, write everything about that and what he does, and draw an aeroplane, label it and share with me. And he said, okay. And I said, where will you get that information? He said, on my mommy's phone. Then I asked, what is on your mommy's phone that will not allow you to focus on the assignment? He said, video games. He mentioned all the things that he knows. And I said, okay, so you know now what will steal your time, so you have to focus. Now give me your mother's phone, your number, when you get home. The mother called me and I asked, do you know your boy wants to be a pilot? He said no. She said no. I'm like, wow. So it tells you how parents think that, oh, as long as my child is going to school, he's fine.
He's fine, yeah.
But we have an influence over them. Parents have an influence over them. I mean, from statistics show that between 4 to 14 years is that stage where you can influence a child. That's where they are malleable. And so we have to be smart at that time as parents, to be intentional. And because parents also do not, most of the times, especially those who are not exposed to this new knowledge, we put that structure to be able to support them so that they can support each other, give some ideas and clues on how they are managing themselves, to also support, the general community. And then we will also follow the boys up in the schools.
Okay.
With the boy, with the boys club, teach them responsibility, give them, and then also mentor the girls as well, and bring them together at the end of the month so that they do competitions together and they can know how to collaborate and
so it's more of a boys club.
So it's with the training for the parents, it's focused on the boys, the parents raising boys.
Okay.
But
so
when it comes
a parents club.
Yes. Okay. So there is a parent coordination. It's not a club per se, but it is a coordination platform where we guide them on topics like purpose, understanding the purpose of the child, and practical guidance on how they should handle the children at any stage of the boy's life, so that they can be more intentional with praying for them, guiding them, encouraging them, creating the right environment for them to study, for them to be responsible. So this is what we are guiding the parents.
So by platform, what do you mean?
So currently we are on a WhatsApp platform.
A WhatsApp platform.
Yes, where the parents are on, and then the head teachers are also there. So the school where we are in, their parents will also be on. So the PTA will be on. When we go to the schools, we engage the boys there, and then we engage the girls also.
So you go school by school?
Yes, we do education in the schools. But however, this project is like a lifelong project. So we are doing a pilot study with the first session. So we have one school that we are working with now, and then the parents platform. So when the topics that we are treating with the parents, we twist it and treat it with the boys also, and then the girls as well. And then we do create competition groups for them so that they can grow together and know how to collaborate. Then at the end of the project, the first project, we now know that so in every school, at least we need maybe this number of coordinators, we need this number of resources. Then that is how we expand. Because we are looking at it becoming a national project.
That's right.
To support
so that's where I was going to go. How
yes,
do we get this, to everybody?
Yes. So we are going to actually train coordinators all over the country. We will collaborate with the education directorates in various districts, because we believe that when we have the structure, tested, we can now be able to escalate, get coordinators from all over the country, the district assemblies, train them, and then we can start.
This is a solid initiative.
Because, for instance, when we engage the boys, some want to be, robotic engineers. And I'm like, so we can find robotic engineers as mentors who once in a while can come and talk to them. Then they ask questions. They've seen somebody who's a robotic engineer. They are inspired. Now, I have some doctors who are also willing. I have some lawyers who are willing to engage them.
So there's a mentorship side of it.
Exactly, a mentorship side of it, where they can actually see somebody who is in that role they aspire to be, so that also helps them alongside their sessions with the club. Yes, please.
So this is still the very first
yes, please.
Project,
please.
If you like, the first class.
Yes, the first pilot of the program.
And then after that, you will scale it up.
Yes, please.
It's been very nice discussing this. What would be your final message?
What I'll say is that every good thing we are experiencing today, every bad we are experiencing today, was either intentionally or unintentionally created. We can blame as much as we can. We can, speak about it as much as we can. But there is hope.
That's right.
I believe that just like there was no light and someone created light, there was no flight, somebody created it, and it made life easier. It's the same way I believe that with the Grooming Code Initiative, all parents can come on board for us to learn and be intentional with our boys and our girls. And when we do that, we will be happy the kind of nurses we raise, the kind of doctors we raise, the kind of engineers we raise, because it will not just be about the books, but we will have emotional, intelligent people. We will have people who have compassion and kind. We will have people who understand each other in places of leadership where we will sit back and enjoy the fruit of it. So I call on to all the leaders in various spaces who are, stakeholders to raising people, pastors, bishops, leaders, that they should come on board for us to expand this vision that God has given us.
That's right.
And I believe that it's a global mission, and by the grace of God, we will raise the next generation of stronger men and great women.
I believe.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
This has been the Grooming Code Initiative.
Thank you.
With the founder and visionaire herself. If you get to watch this, please like it and share with your friends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, MD. It's good to see you.